our girl Tiphani Montgomery.
Yeah, we gotta get on the show, man. We talk about her like a lot.
Yeah, we need to get her up here. But Tiphani Montgomery, she's been saying a lot about Democrats and about Kamala Harris. She called her a witch. So she, DNC was this past week. So let's hear what she had to say about
fully
that.
Persuaded that this generation absolutely hates children and hates babies. I've come to this conclusion for several reasons, but one is because of how many people are molested, raped, and unfortunately have experienced incest. And when the child develops the courage to finally tell an adult, unfortunately, the adult normally forces them to sweep it under the rug because the monster ends up being somebody that the adult loves, or they're beat and they're literally forced into silence, which follows them, unfortunately, until they're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. Also, some of you were your children's first bullies, and unfortunately, some of you have experienced being bullied by the first bully in your life, which was your mother and father. And I'm just of the thought that people just absolutely hate children. I believe that we're living in the days of King Herod. And those of you that don't know what King Herod is or who King Herod is, he was literally the You can read more about it in Matthew chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, that tried to kill Jesus when he found out that Jesus was alive and well. And King Herod did not know where Jesus was. And so he decided to put together a law that killed all babies under the age of 2 years old. That let me know that the enemy is not omnipresent, all-knowing, omniscient. Only God is. So he knew that there was a deliverer that was getting ready to be born, but he didn't know where. So he developed a plan to kill all babies under the age of 2. And here we are at the DNC having Planned Parenthood, who has told you time and time again that their number one goal was to exterminate a race. And they have planted mobile demonic altars to give free abortions to anybody who wants them, as if the DNC is the appropriate place to kill a baby. Let me tell you why it's an appropriate place for them. It's because they need more blood to sacrifice to their demonic god called Moloch. Anybody that needs to get into a high-level position has to shed blood if they are not a believer, because believers, the blood was already shed for us on Calvary. With that being said, demonic blood has to be shed, and baby blood is some of the most potent blood that you can shed. This is why Planned Parenthood has put together a plan to kill babies during this time. They are literally sacrificing the blood of babies. I am telling you now, and I am telling you as loudly as I can, that this is going to render more judgment on this nation. I know many of you don't like when I say it and you don't like to hear it, but I don't care. You're going to thank God one day that he sent somebody with enough courage to tell you the truth. It's only the truth that sets people free.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think about what Tiphani said?
Man, I mean, she's spitting that ism. I mean, I think people do need to research Molage, like what that represents and why which was interesting, why music was playing, why they were sacrificing kids and turn up the music so you can't hear the babies cry and die and stuff like that back in the day. I do think this new generation of Christians are like gung ho about abortion, like really, like y'all are sacrificing babies, like y'all are doing this, blah blah blah. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are getting on board with. You know what I mean? So she called the stuff out, man. She called it out, and I think I don't think every Democrat is wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a party guy. I vote certain ways sometimes, but I'm not like, you know, if Democrats are evil, because I think conservatives are evil too. You know what I mean? Like I think I think if one side is like blatantly evil and then the other side is like trying to act like they're not evil, but like it's almost like a false Christian, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like acting like, yo, I'm saved, but like you look at their lives and there's no fruit. So I just feel like what she was saying is the truth, though. What she was saying about Molage, what she was saying about the DNC did have Planned Parenthood, even if Planned Parenthood did, maybe they were just out there. I don't know if the DNC was like, yeah, be out here so we can get those babies, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I do think it's a big coincidence. I know they didn't stop it.
Yeah, the pushback was the DNC had nothing to do with it, but I mean, it's not. It's they feel comfortable there, right? Like, yeah. That's the environment where why would they push back on it? That's kind of what they're in support of, right? Yeah. So she kind of loses me with the Moloch stuff. Like I'm the one on the show that's always like
skeptical.
Yeah, I'm skeptical that people are just outright just on purpose worshiping Satan. I think the way it works is more devious than that, where you think you're doing the right thing, but you're really in service of Satan. I think that's more common than people actually literally worshiping Satan.
You don't think there's people that just like...
I think there are. Yeah. But I think most people are deceived. I don't think most people are intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it could be some people. I mean, I remember when Hillary lost was because them videos came out of her spirit cooking, and people were like, "Oh no!"
They had videos of Hillary Clinton.
They had pictures of her.
You gotta. Yeah. Why don't you bring this up in the meetings? What are you talking?
Because we don't be talking about that in the meetings.
You need to bring it up. You got pictures of Hillary Clinton,
but it was a picture of her, like, because I think they don't think of I think sometimes people think cleansing of different other religions. Yeah. You could do that, and they don't understand the spiritual realm of being a part of. I consider
if y'all know what spirit cooking is. Okay, it's gross. Okay, let's just say it like that. If somebody's doing that, to me that is obviously intentional demonic. Yeah, right. That's not what I'm talking about. I think most people are deceived into doing things that support Satan, meaning they think they're doing a good thing, but they're not.
You don't think people feel like if somebody come to you and be like, man, if you want to take track stars to another level, you got to do X, Y, Z, and you be like, for real? Like,
yeah, to me, that's such an obvious no. Yeah. That I think most people who are deceived into it are like, you know how you could take track stars to the next level? Support the DNC's promotion of abortion and support the LGBT. That's the way to really serve Satan without knowing that you're doing it.
You're our guest, bro. What's up?
That's the full on scheme by the enemy, right? We know that, there's confusion, there's deception, there's lies. That's exactly what happened in the Garden of Eden. Like, he just deceived Eve in such a way that led to sin being something we all got to deal with now. So, like, when we hear things about them wanting to do all of these abortions, or we hear all this crazy stuff that would happen in biblical times. Yeah. Like, throughout history, there were kids that were sacrificed. Yeah. The world is just a fallen world, and as these things do come to the surface, even for me, it doesn't feel like it's new news. It's like, this is where we're at. This is what we're dealing with because of the main scheme of the enemy and the demonic presence. Yeah. Over even over regions, principalities, all types of things. It is wild. It's really crazy. Yeah. But when you said deception, that's where it's at, because you could think you'd be doing something good. Yeah. Like, think about, and I'll bring this up, and maybe you guys can add to this, because I've always had this idea or thought process. If a woman's raped and she gets pregnant, what do you guys think about that?
That's what Trump believes. Like, he has. Yeah. So I don't know if everybody knows, but Trump is, I think, all cases except for incest, rape, and harm to the mother. I think. Yeah. So it's not a abortion.
I thought he said to this. I thought he said, did he change from just let the states provide? Like, let the state
because decide? Okay, so. He at first he took credit for the Roe v. Wade going down, but then it looked all the candidates started getting voted out. Yeah. So there was a young lady who asked a question and said, "Hey, what's your stance on abortion?" So I'm paraphrasing. He was basically like, "We got to be careful because this is killing us." Basically, is what he's saying. We need to soften our stance a little bit. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing. I know your Trump people are going to kill me, but that's essentially what he's saying, is that he's kind of toning down the rhetoric, and the talking point now is let the states decide, because it's kind of deflecting away from what he's actually saying is he's cool with it for these reasons. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's what I was in the meetings. I was at all the rallies when we were fighting for to kill Roe v. Wade, I don't think that's what we were asking for. It was don't kill no babies, right? So I feel like there's some compromises being made.
Do you feel like if a young lady did get raped, what do you feel about that?
I feel like you might want to kill the guy, but it's just hard. It's hard to say the answer is to kill the kid. You know, that's just hard for me. I mean, it's a bad situation.
It is a very bad situation. I think people, and I think the reason why for some people, even conservatives, abortion sounds like a great idea for that cause of rape, incest, or whatever. Well, mostly rape, is because the trauma it will bring to the woman if she feels like, I have to see this little baby kid. It's like a reminder of rape all over again.
Yeah, he should be destroyed with fire. Yeah, which will happen unless he repents.
Yeah, but to me, I would say if that was the case for her, maybe put the baby up for adoption.
It's just a bad. It's hard to. I would say, hopefully your pastor loves Jesus and he could walk you through that, because I don't wish that on anybody. This is where politics breaks down for me a little bit, which is why I try to stay out of it as much as possible, because I don't have the gift to figure out policy decisions on things like that. There's some things that a general in a war, a president, you know, these positions have to decide that I'm like, tough bro, I don't know how you handle that. We think somebody has to be called to that position.
Yeah, somebody like as a president, y'all in the war room and y'all like, okay, we got to kill this dude. We're gonna kill this dude. We don't know if he in the house. We got intel he in the house.
Could be some other kids in there.
And you got
it. If we don't get him now, he gonna kill millions of people. What do you do?
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah,
it's not my gift.
But I will go back and say, and to me, sometimes I feel like people, you ask the honest question, but I feel like sometimes people use that for abortion. When the actuality is, I just want to do my thing.
Yeah, they use the edge cases as a way to prove it.
Where percentage wise, it's the lowest on the reason why people get abortion.
But back to my original question. I think this is where the rub between me and a lot of people, because I was on the picket lines. I was fighting for this stuff, right? But where y'all lose me, I think, is picking this guy to be the one to push for it. It's not worth it to me. You know what I mean? But especially because he don't even believe it, you know?
Yeah.
But my question is I think a lot of people are trying to make the ops evil.
Yeah,
they're trying to vilify them, when I think most people genuinely feel like they're trying to do the right thing by protecting women and love is love and all these things. I just think they're wrong. I don't think they're evil. You know what I'm saying?
I think what you mean.
I think a lot of people are trying to paint the people on the opposite side, liberals, as evil people instead of deceived people. I think there's a distinction.
I think the difference is it's a difference between one person going like using all those like on the left, like, so if you watching, like if you on YouTube, or if you seen Reels, or you on IG, you may see somebody go, you know, I'm gonna tell y'all my testimony. I had an abortion. I just felt I don't know what to do next. But then you may have another video when a girl be like, I had an abortion. I can't wait to have any more. I can't have more. I want more. And it's like, that's evil. Like you, you know what I'm saying?
That is evil.
So I think the difference is your approach, and I think the media, and even conservative media, is very good at showing the bad side of when people are bragging about their sin and go, that's evil, and not looking at that person needs grace and that person needs Jesus. Or that person could be, back to her original saying, demonic. They could be, a demon could be activated in their life.
I want to say that I don't even know if Tiphani is saying that each individual person that votes for Democrats is evil. I think she's trying to say that the people in power are evil. That we could have a good talk about, because I do think that's true. But again, this is where I lose people in this argument is, again, I think you can be deceived, you can be evil, and then you could know who Satan is and actively worship Satan. I think that's like the extreme of what's going on.
Well, what if it's
I don't think that's the norm of what's going on.
What if that's the transition?
It could be. I mean, it is the
I was going to say that kind of sounds like
that
the
is
roadmap.
the goal of the roadmap. Yeah, but I just think most people are probably in the middle of that roadmap.
Yeah,
that they don't think they're worshiping Satan. They don't think they're evil. They think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
they're just deceived into doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I think those people should be talked about with a little more grace than than I hear right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like how you did. I like how you're putting that together, because you're not making it just black and white. You're like, there's another section of people where it is great for them. You know what I mean? And I think that, you know, a lot of times us as believers, we get a lot of slack is because sometimes we don't always approach it with that grace. You know, we see it as, oh, you're far left, you're evil because you're not following these things to the degree that we're following them, even though we fall every day in the same things that we try to expect other people to understand. So yeah, I like that stance on, you know, being more graceful for those types of people, because that's how you reach them. That's how you can create the connections to actually pour in the good that they might need to hear. You know?
Yeah, and I think the fastest way to make that connection is to not pretend that the side you're on is righteous.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
At least acknowledge what's going on with your side. Like that's the only thing I'm like, if you end up voting for Trump, I get it, like 100%. Like actively voting for some of the things we're talking about right now feels icky. It feels gross. Yeah. And I understand why people are like, I can't do that. I'll rather vote for the gross person than the gross policy. Yeah. I get it. But at least acknowledge that the man you're voting for is one of the weirdest dudes I've ever seen in my life. Can we at least just say that? Hey, there's a weird dude. He does some weird stuff. I get it. Yeah. I just can't vote for them. Right. Just at least admit it.
I think every person I've come across that I know of that is very conservative, I feel like they're like, yeah, he got some problems, but those policies. That's what I've heard
cool
recently.
With that. I'm cool.
You know
with
what I
mean?
Yeah. So, but I think
don't try to sell me like this is some cool dude that like I'm wrong about him. No, I'm not. It's weird.
He's actually nice on the inside.
I'm sure, and here's the thing.
A good guy.
And when even him, I don't think he's an evil person. Yeah. I've never said he was an evil person like that. I think he's super weird. I think selfish, very selfish. Yeah. But if he was sitting here, I would say, bro, do you understand? Like, you have the ability to be an awesome president if you repent. It's the only thing that I'm missing. I'm not
repent from what, Sean?
His sin.
What sin?
Everybody has sin. He said I've never repented for anything in my life.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Weird.
Oh, yeah, that's something different. That's something totally different.
So you can't
that
pretend
has nothing to do with president to me.
Some Christian champion, and when people ask you about the Bible and about God, I don't have anything to repent for.
So your stance against Trump is the stuff he's saying about his walk as a Christian, right? That's what you just said.
I just think that to pretend that whenever I hear this come up, is there's no proof that he did this, and it's like, come on, guys, proof. I understand you believe that people are attacking him and making up stuff about him, but even without that, there's things that I've seen him say out of his face that are sinful. At least acknowledge those things, right? He needs to repent for those things.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you're saying, he said he's never repented for anything.
He said that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. Like that's crazy. I mean, but I think for the conservative Christian, it's like you said, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at him as no. Like this is what they'll probably say. I'm not looking at him as my pastor. I'm not looking at him as my church. Like he's not. He's a man just like everybody else is a man. But at the same time, if I had to choose between him or Kamala, and based off how things have been going in my life and in the country, I'm gonna go his direction.
I understand if that's your view of him, why you would vote for him. That's not my view of him. I think he's intentionally a charlatan. I think he is lying to your face.
Well, he did say, all right, look, man, he did say, I've never repented for anything in my life, right? That's the awareness that there's forgiveness out there, and you're denying it. And as a Christian, what does that look like, right? Like, we're believers here, so imagine saying, I'm not asking God for forgiveness for nothing that I did. I don't care.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I never heard he said that until you just said that just now. You just mentioned that statement. Yeah. So that's where it gets a little iffy, because now people who are like Christians, believers, who even want to give him grace and say, he's taking his time. Now you're like, is it direct worship, or is it direct, like, and when I mean worship, is it direct worship of something else. I don't know.
I know somebody in the comments gonna be like, but Kamala, what about her? What about her stuff?
I don't care nothing about Kamala Harris. I think that's the confusion is that everybody feels like in order to, if I say this about him, that means I must be doing it for them. I don't. The whole beginning of this conversation was all the evil things that are on the Democrat side.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the pressure to pick another evil person because I don't like this evil person. I don't feel that.
Well, unfortunately, we've been hearing that for years. Like pick the lesser of the two evils and
lesser evil. You know, I mean, ultimately, I think it really boils down to what is going to help you and your family thrive.
Right. I think that's what it is.
Choosing policies based on that. And if you are trying to thrive in a way that honors God or honors just a better way of living for you and your family, then you're going to pick the things that will help bring that. And that's Republican, Democrat,
independent.
I would even say this. I get when people say, well, what about policies? What about policies? I personally, hate me if you want to, I don't care about those things. Mm-hmm. I don't care about what would ultimately benefit my family the most. I care about what will ultimately benefit other people's families the most, the people who need it the most.
But I mean, if that's based off that, then why wouldn't you care if...
I care, but again, like what I hear from people is vote your interest, vote what makes... I don't care about that. The only thing I listen for is, does this help the most people who need it the most? Or not. That's what matters to me.
I would hop in.
That's what would sway me, not whether I get more money in my personal bank account.
There are some people, so I think it ties back into that deception too, because there are some people that think they might be doing good for another person, but they might not be doing good.
Right.
So think about that. I think it's two track to each, right? You can have those people that are like, I want to just take care of my family only, and your family wild and crazy. I got some crazy ideas about how life should be. Then he's in trouble. But you also have that family that's like, yo, I just want to honor God, and it's starting in the home. So everything he wants to do, like, is going to branch out eventually. And if you have families, like generations of families thinking like that, then you have generations of change, right? But then that's that other side where it's like, hey, I want to think about what other families might like, and then what if you have a total different idea of what other families really need? Yeah. And then now you're pushing and creating something that doesn't work for those people. Yeah.
That's real. That's real.
I think it's, again, I always go back to this, is like all the confusion and deception, it just floats over everything we try to do.
I'll say this has been something that's really hurt my heart for years and years and years. When I first realized that, because again, I grew up in a Republican kind of house, right? Like my dad, my church, everybody was Republican, right? So it hurt my heart when I realized that I had Christian friends that didn't agree with that decision to be on the Republican side. And it took me a while to realize, like, there are actual brothers and sisters that are split on this issue. Christians aren't all on the same side.
Oh, yeah.
I think what is trying to be preached is that Christians are all on the same side. And if you aren't on this side, then you're not a Christian. That's not true.
What president you think broke that up?
What you mean?
Like what president you think, I'm going to say it, people get mad, but I think Obama broke that up.
He was in my head. I was thinking
I think that
like, broke what up?
Broke up the, like, those back in the days where it was like, this person, like, if you conservative, you're Christian. And if you're liberal, you may not be Christian. But it wasn't like even for the black church, wasn't like, we're policies. The black church was like, we going by policies because of that. But I feel like for black Christians that are like, that word, like you said, grew up Republican, conservative and all that, I feel like President Obama was like the first time you seen him and was like, dang, man, this is a hard choice to make, because I seen this brother in church. He go to a church in Chicago. I seen his brother go in church and sing Amazing Grace. I seen, what I mean? And it's like...
But I think most black Christians are Democrats.
Yeah.
I don't think they came from my background. I think most black Christians came the other direction.
Yeah.
That they grew up in a Democratic house, and now they're voting for Trump for the first time coming across the line. So what I'm saying is realizing that there's a whole huge portion of my family that I really believe are saved, true believers in Jesus that really see it totally differently.
Yeah.
It just hurt my heart that we're so divided on this issue because there are a couple things that are right over here. There's a couple things right over here. You think the things you're right about are more important than the things they're right about, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But they both have evil things on their side, to me, that are obviously evil. You may not see it that way. That, to me, are ignored because you think your positive points are more important. That's what I'm upset about, because as brothers and sisters, I wish we could work those things out and come to a consensus, but it just seems impossible.
But I think both sides are throwing dirt on if you decide who you vote for. It's not like I remember the first time. I think the first time, like I remember the first time with Trump and Hillary. I remember people saying like, "Yo, you crazy if you vote for Trump. You crazy." You know what I mean? And I feel like we just never looked at other people's, or we never took account to other things. And I think right now in our culture, and I feel like in our culture we're seeing a revival happen with people coming to Christ. Yeah. But they're coming to Christ, and their background may be New Age, their background may be coming out of the occult. So they know stuff. So now when somebody like Tiphani comes along and says, you know, these people are sacrificed, they like, she's telling the truth.
Yeah. But I think what TJ said is key. He said most black people are conservative even though they are Dems. Yeah. That's the truth. Yeah. Is that even though you may have grown up in a Democratic family, you were conservative whether you knew it or not because you agreed with Republicans on gay rights and abortion. Yeah. What's happening now, I think, which is a little strange, is that people are starting to make compromises. Yeah. So you see pastors and you see political leaders and you see Obama and you see people like that who traditionally would have been conservative Democrats are now compromising to appeal to this big group of people. Well, so they're starting to accept things that they never would have accepted, and that's what people are starting to see. Oh, this is evil. They're compromising. They're serving Satan because even though they used to be Democrats, they used to agree with us on this. That's the problem.
And I think I do think this is just me. I do think, and anybody going far left, far right is crazy too. It's like racism. It's like tiki torch parties. But on a far left, it's crazy too. Like
super crazy.
And I think the problem was Biden was like, y'all, we can't go that far. We can't go to AOC route.
People used to hug the center. Yeah. Whether you were Democrat or Republican, everybody ran to the center. They tried to hug the center pole. Now people are running to the edges. Yeah. That's the problem. Both sides are running to the edges, and it's scary.
Yeah.
Started with Clinton and the Bushes.
Clinton kind of brought in that mentality of this is starting to get weird. Starting to get a little weird. We're starting to go a little bit too far this way or that way. And then it just continued on.
Man, at the end of the day, put your faith in Jesus. Put your faith in God, true, like really, like regardless who gets in November. I can't wait till the day is over. I can't wait till I can't wait it's over.
I hate this, honestly. Yeah,
I can't wait till it's over. If you're a believer, if you're a blood-bought believer, please put your faith in Jesus Christ. And I would say this on the politics side, do vote locally. Your local elections matter.
That matters a lot.
That matters a little bit more because you see the effects of what happens when you vote mayors in, council people in your neighborhoods.
And to that point, I would recommend, this just works for me. I know this is a big debate or whatever. But I would try to get the absentee ballot if you can, because there's nothing like when I'm able to see my ballot, be like, who is so and so? I can't do that at the booth.
Poll,
I assume I don't know if
you can't take no phone.
Okay, so then that's really bad because most people, I think they go in there and they see a D and the R and they just pick the D or the R. I don't do that. If I have a chance, I go and I say, what so and so believe? What they got on their Facebook? Oh, nah, I ain't with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, really study who the person is, because sometimes I don't know who these people are. And you just pick random, like true. Christmas tree. So if you can, like, really figure out who you're actually voting for, and the local people matter way more. You can actually call that person and get them to answer the phone.
You can go to those meetings.
You ain't calling Trump unless you, like, really bend the knee. You got to bend the knee to get to Trump. So, anyway.